Welcome to another catch-up call with your two Billing Views intrepid reporters, Alex Leslie and Tony Poulos. Alex, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much, Tony. How are you?
Good. Alex, we've had a couple of weeks of interesting news coming through on Billing Views and the usual suspects and culprits appearing in the headlines, a bit of bill shock here and there. But big data is getting a lot of airplay, and also customer experience management, and a lot of questions being asked about just how good telcos are at either of those two. So I thought you might be able to kick off today and let us know what your views are. I remember you covering the story last week.
I did. I found an interesting survey by a bunch called Fifth Quadrant in Australia. And what they'd done was a large survey, cross-industry survey, not just telecoms companies, although I guess there were a couple in there. And they found a couple of very interesting things, in my view. One was that of all of the companies that they surveyed, only 12% said that their big data operations or projects were actually successful. Wow. And over half said that they'd basically failed in some way. Most of the people blamed failure for lack of IT support, lack of technical skills, and so I suppose that kind of thing is very familiar to us. What was perhaps more interesting to me was that the ones that succeeded because top management were absolutely behind it. It was a strategic initiative, and therefore, rather like transformations in telecoms, as we know, those that succeed have board level sponsorship, and the ones that fail go from bottom up, like sort of guerrilla IT projects and so on. And what it reminded me of was the conference. Actually, you and I were both at the TM Forum Big Data Conference, where all of the projects which were beginning to gain traction in that were all basically guerrilla projects, guerrilla IT projects, I think was the term. Yes. And so the one telecom seems to be succeeding, but only in a really small way and going from the bottom up, because as we know, getting budget and business case approval for anything huge in telecoms is just massively difficult. Yeah. Accounting periods are a year, so you're going to get a business case sign off for a multi-million-dollar project over 2 or 3 years. I mean, it doesn't make sense if you look at these things purely as a business case. And I think what struck me is that we have to, in the telecoms industry, really kind of mature our thinking about customer experience and put a lifetime value perhaps on each of our customers and go, the investment may run into the hundreds of millions, you never know, but is our customer base worth 10 times that, or whatever the investment criteria is?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you on some of that. My problem is, and the thing that I'm coming up against all the time, is that I don't know whether telcos know what they need to do to improve their customers' experience. We think we know what we're doing. We try all different sorts of things, and we're getting into big data, of course, to profile the customer so we can give them the services that they want, etc. But do we really know what individuals want? And should we be taking that risk or that gamble of thinking that we do know what they want? I think we worry about customer experience a lot because we have people calling us up. We have call centers that you can call up. There's not many other businesses that have that direct relationship with a customer. We send them a bill every month if they're a postpaid customer. We send them messages every day if they're a prepaid customer. We send them lots of informational stuff. So we really are in contact with them, but do we actually know what they want? And I'm not sure how much big data, and if we really start to use big data effectively, whether we're going to even get that right. So it's we're almost the guinea pigs, I think, with mixing big data with customer experience. I think we might be taking some big risks on that, but I could be wrong, of course.
Yeah, well, I think you've got a point. I think you really do have a point. And a lot of telecoms companies, as we know, are trying to get much better at customer service. But I think it probably turns around into the sort of the conversation that you and I have had before about, we know how we need to increase the customer experience by using customer data more intelligently, by getting data from multiple sources so that I can offer you exactly the right experience at exactly the right time. But if I do that too fast, or I do that too bluntly or too stupidly, you're going to go away and turn the service off.
Yeah, it's a very fine point.
Yeah, so I think that's really where we need to be very, very careful. The sort of it really is like becoming like Star Wars. You've got sort of Darth Vader on one side with, and you've got the sort of Luke Skywalker on the other, wanting to offer you really cool stuff. And if we don't get it right, I think, as our beloved colleague Ed has said many times, that really the currency that operators need to trade in is trust.
Yeah.
And I think if we don't get the balance right, we're going to lose it.
Well, we're coming into the big holiday season. I'm in France at the moment, and as of the 1st of August, the whole of Paris descends on the rest of France, and everybody locks their doors and windows. And I think everybody, not a lot of people from England are moving away because you've had some summer this year, so they might stay at home. But of course, holiday time is bill shock time, and of course, we're going to see the headlines probably within 4 or 5 weeks of those people coming back from their holiday. So I'm hoping this year that we've put in all the tools and all the guides and all the information gathering that will help stop the fear of inevitable bill shock. And of course, Nellie Kroes has been trying very hard as a European Commissioner to make sure that does happen. So fingers crossed we won't have a bill shock post-holiday event.
Well, let's hope so. I guess this time next year it will be irrelevant because data roaming disappears this time next year. But in the next year, I think you're right. I think there's going to be some nasty shocks.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, good to talk to you again. I'm hoping the weather keeps up for the little break that we are all hoping to have, and I'll talk to you probably next week.
Definitely. All right, Tony. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alex. Speak soon. Bye.